Hi, my name is Keyunta Dawson. I would like to thank uh, everyone for having me here at the Sankofa Real Estate Summit. I especially want to thank my friend Dominique Anderson. Uh, it's surprising and it's a cool deal that we can be friends, even though she's a Raiders fan. Um, so today I want to speak on affordable housing. I want to speak on kind of my transition from being a professional football player to getting into affordable housing, get into development, and some of the other things I'm doing right now here in the Nashville area and back home in my home in Louisiana. Um, I like to tell stories. Um, I like to have anecdotes, so bear with me. Hopefully, I can get this whole speech in the allotted time. Please forgive me, Dominique, if I go over. So, like I said earlier, my name is Keyunta Dawson. I go by Key Dawson. I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, born and raised. Um, After I left home, I went to school at Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas. And then once I left school, I was blessed, and some people say I was fortunate enough to play in the NFL. I played for 8 years for 4 different teams. I was with the Colts, the Lions, the Titans, and I uh, finished my career at the Saints. Who that? Um, Really, I had a lot of great people in my life that directed me and kind of put me on the right track and kind of helped me find my purpose. I had coaches. Like I said, I played for Indianapolis. So I had Tony Dungy. I had high school coaches. I had different people that was placed in my life. But probably the most influential person and the person that has the most effect on kind of how I see the world is my parents, especially my father. He recently passed away this last summer, and it's so many life lessons and so many things I learned from him. And just being at his funeral, seeing all the people that came around and told stories about him was a blessing for me. My father was a pastor, but he taught me a lot of things outside of the church. A lot of people preach a good game, and I'm getting into kind of what I'm doing. But I please bear with me. I'm going to get into kind of my purpose and what I do. A lot of people preach a good game, but the actions kind of tell a different story. So I lived with him 24 hours a day, my parents, and they were great examples. And what kind of drew me to the real estate game was something he used to do. And Dominic heard me tell this story in the past, but my father would go to the most some of the worst areas in my hometown in Shreveport and buy up houses. And he would go find day laborers and people who needed work, who had skills, but were just for whatever reason down on their luck. And he would use those people to fix up the houses. And a lot of time, those houses were occupied by the people that helped fix it up. But he would use kind of real as he would use real estate as his ministry, and he was using real estate as his purpose. So what he would do is if somebody had a fire and they were put out, or they were down in luck, or they were entering back into society after being in prison, or they had a drug issue, he would get them help on the drug side, but he would give them a place to stay. And he took in so many families, and even to the up until the time he passed away, he had homes all over our town that he would do just on his own, and he had people living and staying there, and he was transitioning them out into the world. He would give them life skills. He would fix them food. He would give them jobs. He would teach them how to do just regular life. He would give them just regular life skills, and he would teach young fathers how to be a man. And it was a really cool thing to see. So his actions definitely did speak louder than his words. And I tell you this story, and I tell you all this to kind of lay the groundwork. Basically, he used what he had around him, and he used the opportunities that were presented to him to help other people. And that was and still is my driving force. I'm driven. I always have a statement. I have it on my LinkedIn. I have it on my whiteboard in my office. And I always kind of start each day with this. I'm driven by a desire to help others. And if you don't have something that's worthwhile, that's getting you out of the bed every day, you're gonna burn out. It's not gonna be worth it. Uh, so I always look for opportunities to help other people. And just so happened I had a love for real estate, and I coupled that love for real estate and bringing people together, negotiating, talking to people, and I use that to as a vehicle to help other people. And anybody that knows me, I really don't like talking about myself. So it's really hard for me, but I think it is helpful to be able to communicate kind of what I'm doing now, what I did done in the past, what I'm doing now, and what I plan on doing in the future. So while I was still playing, given the nature of football, you never know when your last play is going to be. While I was still playing, I teamed up with a guy in my college town. He was a friend of mine. He was a builder, and mind you, this is during the Great Recession, the housing crisis. We decided to do a housing development. And the strange thing about this, and within adversity, you can always find opportunity. And that's why I always tell people now in my current job, I try to tell people, don't look for problems, look for solutions. So one of the problems at that time, and for some of the people we were trying to help, is still the case. They couldn't get loans. Really, nobody could get loans at that time. It was during the Great Recession. The banks had locked up. So we saw opportunity because he had a connection. My partner friend had a connection with tradesmen, construction people, people that worked at hospital, because his side job was being an office manager at his brother's surgical clinic. So he was plugged in with the medical. He was plugged in with the medical industry. He was plugged in with the construction industry, and he used that connection to find out what the problem was. It was a lot of people out there that were nurses, nurses assistants, CNAs. You had a lot of people that worked the support staff at the hospital. You had a lot of tradesmen that had good cash flow, had good jobs, but for whatever reason, life happened, divorce, medical bills, things like that. They couldn't qualify for loan. And then on top of that, really nobody else could unless you just had perfect credit and had a bunch of money in the bank. Banks were only lending to people who didn't need the money. And so we saw a property that a developer was trying to do a neighborhood right next door to a really nice golf course in our college town. So when everything hit the fan, he lost his shirt. He needed to get from under the land, and I saw his opportunity. I had just started in the NFL. I was a 7th-round draft pick, and contrary to what everybody thinks, everybody in the NFL doesn't have a $20 million contract and ride around on yachts and have a mansion. I was drafted in the last round of NFL, even though I played a long time, but I had to work for everything I got, and I had to put my money into I had to use the money that I did make, put it into different avenues and investments to help it grow. And another stat too, I just want to throw this out here just for people, for your information. On about 5% of the NFL players, even the top highest people, all these big contracts you hear when on ESPN when they announce, but only about 5% of of the total NFL players have enough money to retire on that they never have to work again in their life. So take that, you can put that wherever you want to. Just know that everybody that has that professional football, or other leagues might be different, but everybody had that label in the NFL is very different. Non-guaranteed contracts, short short uh, uh short expectancy as far as like how long you can play. It's a lot of things that contribute into that. But get back to my story. We did the development. We became the bank to a lot of people. We pre-sold those homes, and we went through the process of figuring out, hey, where's the need at? We built the house one by one, and we did the 90 lot development, and it was a great experience. We didn't have any issues going through that process, from the permit to the working with the city. They loved the concept. And I think the biggest thing, and I always say the proudest thing I took from that was every time I get a chance to go back to Lubbock, I drive right past that neighborhood, and I kind of get to see the people. Now, some of those houses have turned over to other people and resold and things like that, but a vast majority of people stayed in there, and that's the cool thing about giving people that opportunity to own a home. They won't, some people trade up, at that point once they establish their credit and they pay on it for so long. This was about 10 years ago. So some people use that to kind of build and move on to the next step and move into a more traditional neighborhood. Some people stay there for long term and they're using that as a bank account, for a savings account for future needs. And some people are using that because they did get some appreciation in their neighborhood. And then some people are using that as something they can pass on to their kids. So it's a really cool thing to be able to see little kids that you helped move into the home, gave a safe environment, took them out of some of the bad situations, actually saved their parents some money from paying really high rent, and seeing them move into something a little bit more traditional. So from that project, I sold out once we finished that project. We buttoned that up, and then I went into different types of other business entrepreneur ventures, from restaurant in Texas, and then I did a fitness center here in the Nashville area. And then after that, I became a business broker. I ended up being the VP of commercial real estate at Prime 100 Business Broker in Franklin. I became a realtor, and to this day, uh, I'm still a realtor with Gemstone Property Management and Realty, and I'm over their real estate sales department. And then my main thing that I do, because I have to have multiple things kind of going on, is I am a senior business advisor at Pathway Lending, which is a nonprofit CDFI here in Nashville, and I head up the emerging developer program. So I'm kind of using my experience and some of the things I've learned on the real estate side of things to help build the next generation of developers in the city of Nashville, and kind of have people develop the city that I live in that's actually from this city. That they can put their imprint on the city and not have so many people. It's not bad for outside people coming in, because at one point I was outside, but to have people that's really invested into the future growth of the city, and doing it the right way and developing the community, and then having a good impact on the community, instead of just running out one population and bringing in another population. Also, I want to see build a crew of developers that's going to stay here. There's a lot of people coming in from different cities, East Coast, North, South, just to be able to make money, and then they're leaving. So I'd rather find some developers and some real estate investors that's going to really be invested in more than one sense of the word in their community. So I'm doing that. We're doing a real estate mastermind group to kind of get together a group of like-minded individual that has the same mentality of affordable housing and responsible development and responsible investment. One of my great friends, Derek Morgan, who had a $200 million opportunity zone fund, is one of the contributors on that. So I'm trying to do as much on the educational piece and the educational side to kind of help that next generation. So currently for myself, I had a foundation that I started when I played in the NFL. That is Keys for Hope Foundation. That's primarily based in Louisiana. I'm in the process of moving that here to Tennessee. I want to use the things that my father taught me, as far as having safe homes and things set up around the city and around Middle Tennessee, to be able to help transition people and giving them a launching pad into a better lifestyle. So I want to be able to do that. I'm also in the process of doing some affordable housing, multifamily projects down in Columbia, Tennessee, and that's also where my new headquarters for my foundation will be located. and we're going to have a Keys to Hope Center where people can come in and get real estate education, get financial literacy, get community development information, job sources. So anything that most people say they need to teach this in school, or I wish I would have known that when I was younger. I want to be able to provide that and get that hands up to the next generation to say, hey, you can be better. Another thing I kind of want to speak on is it's something I learned from my father. You always got to find an opportunity to help people around you and better your community. So one of the things I learned at a very young age, and what my mother and my father taught me was you got to get over yourself. The world does not revolve around you, and you need to get up and do it. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. I know we're in a political season, and I know we just had an election, but no matter what side you're on, you need to recognize and realize uh, nobody can take care of your community better than the people in the community. Nobody can take care of your people better than you can. Don't wait for somebody in Washington D.C. or some government official to help your people, to help the people that you see every day, that neighborhoods that you drive past every day. It might be something small that you do, but any little thing you do, it can help somebody. Any little thing you do is a benefit. You don't have to have a $200 million opportunity fund. You don't have to have millions of dollars in your bank account. You can go out and mentor someone in your city. You can go out and impart knowledge and education to people around you. So that's one of the things I've always learned from my father. When he passed away, he was a small country preacher, never took a salary at his church, gave all the money and the things that he got to other people. He just gave it away. Funny story. Every time when I played in the NFL, when I would send them a check home, or I would send them some money just because I'm like, hey, parents, I love you. I want to make sure I want to take care of you. I would send them some when I get a little extra money. I used to have to write on the check, please use this money for yourself. This is a gift for you. Don't give it away. Like I would write that physical on the check to guilt them into using it for what they needed, and not give it away to other people. And I do, and I'm kind of jumping around, but it has a point to it. I do a lot of work with people who do estate sales, and you have one spouse die and that other spouse has to sell the home, and it's just getting too much for them. And I walk through these homes that they raise families, and they have so many memories in, and it's 50 years worth of stuff accumulated. And the one thing I always got is they never really cared about the stuff. They care about the memories and the things they shared in that property. It was an attachment to that location and the things that they experienced, not the stuff. And I don't want to get too preachy, but everything that you're pursuing and doing right now, if it's a car, if it's a home or something else, eventually it's going to end up in a landfill. What's going to matter is how you affected the world around you, how you treated people, and how you made people feel. That's going to be your legacy when you leave this earth, that's going to pass on. And I saw that when my father passed, because he was a country preacher, but and I work in nonprofit, so I think in impacts and touches how many people come around. And was during the height of COVID-19, and one of the hotbeds of COVID-19 in Louisiana. And in the 2 day viewing for my father, and the funeral, the family hour, and just the viewing, and we had a video set up too that was posted to Facebook Live and YouTube. He had over 4,000 different individual touches, impacts of people who either walked through those doors, through those doors, through those 2 days of his viewing. And I heard countless stories of people I didn't even know. People lived in California. I heard he did this, he did that, and it made me so happy to see that. And I say all that to say this: what you do to help the people around you, and the impacts that you can create, and the people that you can impart knowledge to, That's the most important thing. Chasing a paycheck, you chasing that new car, that Mercedes, all that stuff is going to be rubbish at some point. But the thing that people are going to remember and not forget is what you did with the time that you had to impact your fellow man. You know, a lot of people get caught up in chasing that money, that promotion. But I've always learned, if you do, and this is something my parents taught me, if you do what's right and you treat people right, you're always going to be taken care of. If you create value to the market, so I teach, you know, find out the problem and create the solution, and you create value, and that's what you do with business. I work with small business owners. I help them. I help them with funding. I help them with education. I help them stay open during this pandemic. So if you can recognize a problem in the market, and we know the problem in Nashville is affordable housing and gentrification. That's two big problems. You know, affordable housing. I think the stat is we're going to be at a 31,000 unit deficit by 2025. You got Amazon, all this big money coming in, $2 billion that's spread over a couple cities. Nashville is one of them. You know, that to address this issue, you have all this corporate money, all these different, you know, entities. So this is the opportunity that you can recognize that problem, create value, and help other people. Focus on the helping, and then that value, people are gonna pay and put money behind you to support you if you're helping and finding solutions to problems and to issues. So for me, you know, I just wanted to impart that. But for me, you know, I'm really pushing forward to doing my developing and investing in the future. I want to have a development company and a realtor company, or a real estate company that will specialize in affordable housing and affordable investment and community development investment. So that's kind of like my next step. I'm in the process to get my master's at Georgetown University. And you know, I just want to encourage you guys that any place you're at, wherever you work, your neighborhood, whatever your influence, whatever your educational level, you have enough to impact, and you have enough to you know, to be able to bless and to pull up the next generation and to help people around you. And you shouldn't have to wait for a government official, a governor, a president to do it. You should get out and do it yourself. And uh, you're going to see that other people will get behind you. And you might start out on your journey by yourself, but once you look up and look behind you, you'll have a crowd with you. So that's kind of what I want to say. I kind of ramble, but I'm very passionate about it. And I just want to encourage you guys, if you're interested in any of this, or you're interested in joining with me, or you have any questions, or you want to partner with something, just please reach out to me. My email is Keyunta, Keyunta .Dawson, at pathwaylending.com, pathwaylending.org. I'm gonna get it right. So Dawson at pathwaylending.org. And then you can reach me on my cell phone, 615-559-0750. You can find me on LinkedIn, Keyunta Dawson. Hit me an inbox. But you know, I'm just happy to be a part of the Sankofa uh, conference, and I'm happy that Dominique gave me the opportunity to speak. And I hope that just some of the things that I've explained and some of the things that I share with you guys can be helpful, and it can inspire someone to do something in their own purpose, walk in their own purpose. You know, it might not be the same thing that I'm doing, but it might be something, and you might get idea from this, or something that you can do in your area. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.